Good afternoon, everybody. First, before we begin, I'd like to ask that each of you, if you can check your cell phone and make sure it's on mute while we go through the ceremony. I'd like to welcome you, the students in Auburn, to the Gogue Performing Arts Center, and live stream our students on the Mobile campus joining us as well. I'd also like, before we begin, to thank our sponsors of today's event, McKesson, and unfortunately we don't have a representative from McKesson with us here today, but they've been very generous to sponsor this event. So my name is Richard Hansen. I'm the Dean of the Harrison School of Pharmacy, and I'd like to first thank you. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for being flexible with us. It's certainly been a wild, wild year. I was just commenting with Dr. Jungnickel before the ceremony began. Right around this time last year, the last time that we've traveled, we were in Puerto Rico at the annual meeting, or the annual winter meeting of the American Association of Colleges of Pharmacy. While we were at that meeting, it struck me that we were talking about the future of higher education and the future of pharmacy education. And little did I know, the very next week, we would be changing everything that we do in pharmacy education. It's certainly been an interesting year. I think looking back, I regret that it took us so long to have a ceremony like this for you today. And I also regret that we're not having the typical ceremony that you would have been afforded under normal circumstances. But I'm hopeful that you'll embrace this moment, you'll embrace the change that has happened over the last year, and you'll look back and remember this as part of the historical pharmacy journey that you're making today. So again, where I began, I'd like to thank you for your resilience, thank you for your cooperation, and just thank you for being a part of the Harrison School of Pharmacy. So let's begin. The white coat ceremony is a very special occasion. I'm pleased to be able to find a solution to be able to offer this ceremony today. The white coat ceremony is symbolic. It's a symbolic event in which the members of your class, the class of 2024, are inducted into our profession. Before this year began, you were known as siblings, as friends, in some cases, husbands, wives, maybe mothers and fathers. You were citizens, laypersons in the eyes of the public. You're now becoming a fully functional healthcare professional, full-fledged pharmacy colleagues and caregivers for your patients. Putting on the white coat at this ceremony is symbolic. It is representative of your accepting the responsibilities associated with becoming a healthcare professional and a servant to society. The significance of the white coat spans the past, the present, and the future. For healthcare professionals of the past, the coat represented legitimacy in overcoming quackery and mysticism of 19th century medicine. In the present, the coat is a reflection of your entrance into the profession. It is a visible symbol reminding you to always be proud to uphold the highest moral, ethical, and legal conduct as stated in the Oath of the Pharmacist. The coat is also a symbol of the future. It symbolizes the public role you will have in helping others. I'm confident that every day of your professional training and ultimate career will lead you to be successful, advance our profession, and make a difference in the lives of others. We now come to the coating ceremony. In past ceremonies, we would have had everyone come up. We would have put the coat on you or had someone that sponsored you to put the coat on, but unfortunately we can't do that today. So this year, we're going to all coat together. We will coat each campus separately, and we'll begin first on the Auburn campus. So can I ask, please, all of the students on the Auburn campus to please stand. Auburn campus students, please put on your coat. Y'all look very nice. Please be seated. Can I now ask the Mobile Campus student pharmacists to please stand? Mobile student pharmacists, please put on your coat. Please be seated. Please join me in applause for yourself and all of your student pharmacist colleagues. I'd like to now call on Dr. Paul Jungnickel, Associate Dean for Academic Programs, to share a few remarks.
Thank you, Dean Hanson. Please allow me to be the first to congratulate you. And this is a very important event. I'm very glad that we're able to be together today. And I would just like to say, and kind of re-echo what Dean Hanson said, just to thank you for your perseverance and adaptability these past months. We are now over 3/4 of the way through your P1 year, with each of you adapting to an educational process that we had no idea what it would look like when most of you accepted your offer of admission into the Harrison School of Pharmacy. And I'd just like to commend you for your perseverance these past 7 months. And I'd also just like to comment on kind of some of the things I've been seeing happen in pharmacy during this last year. And I think it really speaks well for your profession that you've chosen to enter and the members of the profession. As we've seen in the past months, pharmacists adopt to doing a variety of enhanced services and advanced practice that didn't exist even a year ago. So I think that speaks well of what pharmacists can do and what your future looks like in our profession. And so I would now, it's my distinct privilege to introduce our Pharmacy Student Council President, Lauren Campisi, who's a third-year student pharmacist. She has a few words to say to you this afternoon, and following this, she will administer the oath of a pharmacist. The oath is found on the back of your program. Lauren.
Thanks, Dr. Jungnickel. You guys do look really good. And you're like, Lauren, I wore this coat all last week. I had 5 Oskies. I know I look good. And that's not really what today's about, right? We know that you've taken the oath before. We know that you've worn the coat before. But what Dean Hanson was talking about is it's a symbol that you're accepting responsibility, right? So if you look at the oath on the back of your pamphlet, you're not only accepting the responsibility for yourself, but you're accepting that responsibility from the public. And it specifically says that, from the public. That's like a really big weight on your shoulders, right? You're like, oh, this coat just got heavier. Yeah, it's a big deal. And now, you didn't get here by yourself, if I had to guess. For me, I had like a team, and they were like pushing me up the hill. And you may relate to that. You may have had like a small team. You may have had the whole Auburn football team on your side. But you didn't get here without a team. So make sure you thank those people, your parents, your godparents, your siblings, friends, for getting you to pharmacy school. Again, you're 3/4 of the way done. So thank your teammates, your friends, your study partners for getting you through that 3/4. And then continue to get you for the next 3 years. Make sure to thank people. But there are a few lines in your oath that I want to call your attention to. And the first one is where it talks about that this is a lifelong obligation. So you're going to go forward and you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm a pharmacist, or I'm a pharmacy student. I'm your pharmacy student today. How can I help you, right? A little PTSD from last week. Well, It's true, and that's how you're going to identify yourself pretty much for the rest of your life. And you should have some pride in that. That is really cool. Pharmacy has come a really long way. I work in a pharmacy chain, and we have this like kind of elderly man who always calls and he says, "I want to speak with the druggist." And so we've come a long way, and that's something to be excited about, that you're going to be doing this. So you have to have that pride behind you and know that what you're doing is worth that lifelong obligation. The next line that I want to point your attention to is that you're called to continuously improve your professional knowledge and competence. Now, this is something really hard for me. It's really hard for me to admit when I'm wrong, and I'll just tell you that. But there are times when someone's going to ask you a question. I'm going to my P4 rotations right now, so I know that I'm going to be asked questions, and I know that I'm going to have to say, "I don't know." And you have to be okay with that, because you have to be able to say, "I need to take a step back and I need to learn." Because the minute that you think that you know something that you may not, you can make a fatal mistake. So that's really important that you're able to say, "I don't know." And you're able to learn and continuously grow. The last line I'll point your attention to is that you have to hold yourself and your colleagues to high standards. So, you're not always going to know everything, and you're going to make a wrong decision. And you're like, "Did that last week, didn't do great, something, I don't know." I have made so many mistakes in my life last week, today, okay? Used the wrong coffee creamer. Awful, right? You have to be able to say, "Okay, that was not right. How do I change going forward?" You have to be able to learn from those decisions. Otherwise, you will not be able to continuously grow. You won't be able to hold yourself and colleagues to high standards, and you will not be in this profession lifelong, and it won't be your obligation. So I really want to emphasize that when we talked in, I think it was August, and we gave you the oath for the first time, I said, think about this moment in your life. You start to advocate, but instead of advocating for yourself, you're advocating for patients. Nothing has changed, but I do want to emphasize how serious it is and how you have people's lives in your hands. So, sorry, that was really serious. Excited for y'all. But as the School of Pharmacy School and Council President, it is my honor to administer to you, my fellow classmates, the oath of a pharmacist. I will ask that you recite the oath, paying careful attention to the responsibilities that we each have and continue to assume as pharmacists. We should all hold aspects of this oath in highest regard and always remember that we are morally and ethically bound to the statements that we are about to make. Now, if you all will stand. If you will raise your right hand and remember to insert your own name when you are instructed to do so. Please repeat after me. I promise to devote myself to a lifetime of service to others through the profession of pharmacy. In fulfilling this vow, I state your name, will consider the welfare of humanity my primary concerns. I will apply my knowledge, experience, and skills to the best of my ability to assure optimal outcomes for my patients. I will respect and protect all personal and health information entrusted to me. I will accept the lifelong obligation to improve my professional knowledge and competence. I will hold myself and my colleagues to the highest principles of our professions. moral, ethical, and legal conduct. I will embrace and advocate changes that improve patient care. I will utilize my knowledge, skills, experience, and values to prepare the next generation of pharmacists. I take these vows voluntarily with the full realization of the responsibility with which I am entrusted by the public. You may now be seated. I want to congratulate you all again and say how proud I am of you as my colleagues and as my classmates.
How about a round of applause for Lauren? That takes a lot of bravery. I want to be honest with you today. I've been worried about you. It's been a tough year, and what I worry the most about is your ability to build meaningful relationships with your colleagues. I tell the story often. My pharmacy school friends, some of which are married, some of which we've been longtime friends, we vacation every summer. They're the people that I call when I have a question. They're the people that I go to when I don't know the right answer. So I want to encourage you today, even though you've been in a different environment, perhaps isolated from building those relationships in person, I want to really take the moment to encourage you to continue to find every opportunity possible to get to know your colleagues. It's going to be different soon. We're going to be back in person soon, and you're going to have a lot of catch-up to do. So from the administration's perspective, we stand behind you, trying to do everything that we can to give you those opportunities and to create those learning moments, but also the professional network building moments that I think you'll value for the rest of your life. So this marks the first milestone in your professional journey. I hope you can remember this ceremony, while different, and appreciate what the coat means to your career. It's a notable accomplishment to be in your position today, so I congratulate you for making it this far. Always remember that the faculty, staff, and alumni of the Harrison School of Pharmacy want nothing more than for you to be successful. Your success is our success. We want you to thrive as students, and even more importantly, we want you to flourish as the next generation of pharmacists. This concludes our ceremony today. Mobile students, Dr. Marlowe will issue instructions for an individual photo opportunity. And Auburn students, please remain seated for a group photo. After the group photo, if you like, you'll have an opportunity to have your individual picture taken. If you would like to do that, please remain in your seat after the group photo. A free digital copy will be provided to everyone in the coming weeks. When you're instructed by our staff, who I must call out and say thank you for being here today, you're doing a tremendous job. When you're instructed by them, you'll exit through the doors to my left. And if you're not interested in taking an individual picture, you may exit through the doors to the right. And as always, please try to maintain social distance. Students in the balcony, if you will move towards the theater ground level after the group picture, and we'll call you to have your picture taken. Thank you again for your attendance. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for your cooperation in allowing us to proceed with a modified event. Actually, looking around today, I think this was better. I like the fact that we're able to have just a quaint environment and the ability to have this ceremony. So, maybe you got a better event than colleagues of the past. But thank you for being here. Have a great evening. War Eagle.